welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited for today's video. This video I have been wanting to film for you guys for the longest time. I just haven't had the time to do it. In today's video I'm sharing with you all the things that I actually used in my labor and delivery bag. I have made a list. I'm showing you my awesome backpack that I got off of Amazon. I will have this link down below if you are interested in purchasing one for yourself. This was an awesome hospital bag, but also a really good diaper bag, and I really enjoy using it, and it was a fraction of the price of the high-end ones that I have seen over on Instagram that I want so badly. Alright, so these are the things that I believe that you should bring in your hospital bag that will be very useful for you in all situations. And this is all the things that I did use. Not only that I packed that I thought was necessary, but these things that I have on my list I did use. And I was very happy that I had them with me in the hospital. If you hear any noise, it's my little son here next to my feet, sitting in his little bouncer chair playing. Sorry for the distraction, but yes, so for myself I was very happy that I brought the first thing on my list that I shared in my other video, which was toilet paper and wet wipes, flushable wet wipes for myself. Okay, so during my delivery I did have a 2nd-degree tear, and I tore quite badly, and it was very painful to go to the bathroom afterwards. And I didn't have any like squirt bottles or anything like that to help myself in that moment. The hospital do not provide it where I am, and I didn't buy anyone either. So if you have that, bring it. If that makes you feel more like prepared, bring it. But I'm sure that if you're delivering in the States, the hospital will provide you with one. Here in Europe, they don't. At least not in Spain, where I am. So the wet wipes, I was very happy I did bring. I also brought dispensable underwear, and I'm very happy that I did so, because the hospital where I delivered, they provided me with really big pads. I even think I still have some that I could show you. Okay, so in my case, my hospital, they provided me with really big pads. These ones. Now don't get alarmed, but this is the kind of pad that you will need after giving birth. Okay, so I brought the dispensable underwear. They provided with the pads. So those things together was a very good combination. But my absolute favorite for postpartum bleeding was the diapers, okay? The pink, I think always it's called diapers. You should get them, you have to get them. If you bring anything to the hospital from this list, it have to be the diapers, you guys. They provided me with so much comfort, and I didn't have to feel any kind of stress that I was gonna leak or anything, and they didn't press on parts that they are not supposed to press, and they were a godsend, okay? Don't feel ashamed if you bring the diapers. Bring the diapers. You're gonna thank me later. But the disposable underwear together with the pads, they work just fine. But you can't just move around easily. You have to be a little bit careful. At least that's what I felt. I have a picture of me using the the dispensable underwear. I will insert it here. But yeah, that worked too. But the diapers were kicking it up a notch. During labor and delivery, I highly recommend that you bring as much snacks as you possibly can. So in my hospital, they provided me with food, but not for Caesar, my fiance. So I don't know how it's gonna be where you are in the States, but the cafeteria or the coffee shop that they have there, basically everything is closed due to the pandemic. So if he wanted to eat something, he could go certain hours to the coffee shop and get food, but it was not that good, honestly, and it was mainly us going to the vending machine getting snacks basically for the 3 days that we were there. And for me, the food that they provided was water and bread, and I'm not kidding you. The breakfast was literally a little loaf of bread and water. So, and I'm gluten intolerant, so I basically lived on that for 3 days, and it was horrible. The food in my hospital was horrible, and I'm sorry for being a complainer about that, but it was truly horrible. I don't know how you could start to produce milk and feed your newborn properly if you don't get food. So bring all the snacks that you can. I ate all of the snacks that I brought. One thing that I brought that I don't recommend out of vanity, but or maybe a little bit, I brought my makeup bag and I used my makeup. I did my makeup when I went into the hospital when I was in labor, and I'm very glad that I did. I'm just keeping an eye. Here he might want to be picked up now. Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Here, you can be honest. You're so dirty. Yeah. Hi. Hola. Hola, Hector. Hola, Hector. Can you say hello to our friends? Hello. Hi. There is our friends. Can you say hi? Hi. We might have to nurse for the second part of the video. We shall see. Okay. So I really enjoyed having my makeup with me because I did want to take a lot of pictures, and I put my makeup on just before the delivery. I was doing that at home, and when I got ready the last day to head home, but that made it possible for me to look somewhat decent in my photos, and I'm very happy that I brought my makeup. I brought a belly band, and I wish I would have had a size bigger because I was not able to put it on me for the first few days, but that's something that I do recommend that you bring. I wish mine was big enough when I was there. And it's mainly just to keep the organs from falling out now, but it makes you feel a little bit more comfortable. My trick that I did when I couldn't use it was that I used my maternity leggings and I just folded them like a couple of times down, so the band was like helping me hold everything in basically, but mainly because I wanted to feel secure, if that makes sense. For pajamas I brought various options. The option that I opted for, the one that I ended up using, I'm falling over, was this nightgown. So I recommend you to get a longer version of a nightgown that has a button-up style to it. That way breastfeeding is a lot easier, and I didn't use any of my other warmer pajamas. I was sweating all the time. The hospital was very warm and they don't want the babies to be cold, so usually the hospital is very warm where I am, and so for me the postpartum sweats, that was no joke. I was basically naked all the time. But when I did wear something, it was that nightgown together with my maternity leggings. So I recommend you to bring maternity leggings as an option, because that is what you have been wearing for the past 9 months basically, and it's what you may feel more comfortable in also after the delivery. Oi, good. Yes, that's the case for me. I think it could be that case for them too. I recommend you to bring a nursing bra or 2. I brought 3, I used 2, I think. I recommend you to bring slippers, both for comfort but also for showering. If you have a pair of old flip-flops, then you can bring those so you can have your shower with your flip-flops. That way you don't have to feel like you're standing on germs, and you can throw them away when you're done. I did use my coming home outfit. I didn't need many options. I think I used I only used my coming home outfit, and I used my pajamas for the rest of the stay, so you don't need a lot of clothes at all. Maybe you should think about a warmer option and a colder option depending on when you're delivering. Alright, we are back. I had to take a little break and I had to feed lunch to everyone in the family, so that's why we look a little bit different. The light is a little bit different, and I'm not sure that we are in the same place exactly in the room, but Hector is with me, and let's finish the list. So for toiletries, this is a thing all by itself. I have to say that dry shampoo was my best friend, because I did do my hair the night of the labor, which means that I didn't have to wash my hair in my stay at the hospital, which was very nice. So I only used some dry shampoo and that was it. And I did bring my hairbrush, my scrunchies, like my favorite hair ties. I also brought a curling iron, but I don't think that that's an essential. I'm a little bit extra, so I'm not including that in my list, but take that in mind if you do want to do your hair. I brought deodorant, face cream and body wash, and I'm very happy I brought all of those things. I did bring toothpaste and toothbrushes for me and my fiance, makeup removal wipes, lip balm, nipple covers and prenatal vitamins. All very much essentials, and I use them all. For this little one, I packed a separate bag, and in his bag I packed pacifier and a pacifier clip. I know that not everybody is on board with giving your newborn a pacifier, but if you want to know how and why I went that road or went down that road, I have a separate video explaining to you, and I believe that it's my first baby update that I made on this channel. So if you want to go and check that one out, I will have it linked down below, or maybe here in the cards or somewhere. I packed his lovey, a little stuffed animal, this one to be exact, and I have been loving having this with me wherever we go. It's a distraction for him to watch, and it works very well to be like a prop for propping up his pacifier if he's not strong enough to hold it himself. I brought... Oi, pardon, are you uncomfortable? Are you uncomfortable? I brought him a couple of pajama sets and very much essentials. I did bring a pair of newborn and size 50 clothing for him, and when he was born he was bigger than I expected, so the size 50 were just fine. It would have been enough to only bring size 50. I brought his going home outfit, scratch, mittens and various hats depending on the temperature. Yes. We brought socks, we brought a jacket and an overall to have options depending of if it were to be very, very cold or not. We didn't use the overall, but depending if you're giving birth during the winter or the summer, keep that in mind. We brought a selection of muslin blankets, the smaller kind, the ones that you can swaddle if you want, or just use as like burp rags or whatever. They're very useful for many, many things. I like to use them for like an extra cover up, like to just drape over the stroller, or when I'm cleaning him, to just put it over him so he don't feel cold and scared that they don't have any clothing on. They are useful for many, many things. Or just a cover up basically if you're nursing and you don't want everybody to see. You can just tuck that in under your strap on your bra and then just drape it over him, and it's not gonna be suffocating the baby because he has a lot of fabric in between or on top. I also want to mention a warm blanket. This is what I put over him in his car seat when we went home. I also liked having that over him in the hospital when he was not wearing any clothes, or just as a snuggly blanket basically. I brought a car seat cover, and I recommend it now in pandemic times to bring that, because when you are leaving the hospital you are basically driving through all of the hospital, at least we were, with your little stroller and your newborn baby, and we are wearing a mask but he was not, so I felt like when I had the car seat cover he was more protected. But after that basically I haven't used it as much as I thought I would, but anyway, it's something to bring to the hospital. Boppy pillow. Okay, so this was my best friend, you guys. This thing was a lifesaver. They didn't have pillows for everyone when we were sleeping there, so this worked as my pillow during the night for when we were nursing, and just I had it all the time with me in bed, and it was so useful for so many things. So I highly recommend bringing a boppy pillow, especially if you're gonna nurse your baby or your newborn. Hand sanitizer, butt paste and nail clippers. They don't recommend you to cut the nails of the newborn, but in my case he did have a couple of them that was really long, so it was very easy for me just to snip that little bit right off, and then he was using scratch mittens for the rest of the time. And then I have like a separate list of things that are not specific for me and for him, but it's like camera equipment and that kind of thing. For us, we were vlogging the birth, and we really wanted to have our camera with us, so if you want to take good pictures and that kind of thing, and you have a good camera, don't forget to bring that. Don't forget to bring the charger and a tripod if you want to use one. Phone and phone charger. Okay, so another lifesaver was the long cord ones that you can get very cheap nowadays. I bought mine in Primark. I think it was just a couple of euros, and it was this really long cord, so I could plug it in behind my bed and I could have the phone with me where I was sitting, and I was using it all the time. And I remember saying in the first vlog we did from the hospital that the long cord phone charger and my boppy pillow was like my lifesavers. So don't forget to bring that. And I also brought my laptop, and all of these things I did use. I did have an even longer list when I did my first videos on this topic. So if you want to go and watch those videos to see all the things that I brought that I didn't use, you can go and check those videos out. But thank you for your patience, and to make it easier for you guys, I'm gonna copy this list and I'm gonna write it down in the description box below, and I will also leave a link to my diaper bag that I think is a very handy and cute diaper bag that worked very well to bring to the hospital if you are in the hunt for one. And yeah, I'm just so excited to share this with you, and if you are about to have a baby soon, I'm rooting for you. I'm keeping you in my thoughts and my prayers, and good luck. It's very stressful now in the time we are living, and I understand that you want to be prepared for anything, but remember, the most important thing is whatever happens is that you and baby are safe, and that's all we can really ask for. Then everything else is secondary. So just try and keep yourself safe and take care of you, and try to not stress about everything. Make a list, slowly but surely tick off your list, and you will know, or you will see that sooner than you can imagine, your baby is gonna be there with you in your arms, and you're gonna be just fine. So have a good day, and I will see you guys in a future video. Bye!